Welcome back to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper. American investigators are right now digging through the Orlando terrorist's background, trying to determine what may have motivated Sunday's heinous attack and whether he may have had any help. Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell of California. He serves on the House Select Committee on Intelligence. Congressman, thanks so much for being here. You were just briefed on the investigation by intelligence officials. What can you tell us?
Yeah, we're getting new information, Jake, right now, and the FBI is doing a very good job right now looking at who was this individual. The key questions: was he self-radicalized? Was he an unstable individual who carried out this attack, or is this something larger that was directed by ISIS? The second question is, what was missed? What did people around him not pass forward to law enforcement that could have prevented this? And then lawmakers are asking ourselves, how could we prevent this in the future? And I think a key issue is, how could someone on a terror watch list, even in the past who came off, how do we not have a law in place that alerts the FBI that you were looking at this person before, now, by the way, he has bought an assault weapon?
So let's try to break down some of the things you just said. The first one, the latest information we have is that there is not evidence, at least nothing uncovered yet, indicating that this was directed by a terrorist group, that the individual in question appears to have been self-radicalized. Is there anything new on that front?
Yeah, hope that's the case. And right now, what the FBI is doing is going through everything about this individual's background to make sure that is true. But until that's the case, I think we remain on alert here and know that ISIS can not only direct, but with their success abroad, inspire.
Sources are also telling CNN that there's an active investigation right now into what the terrorist's wife might have known about the plot, whether she knew something and failed to notify officials. Have you heard anything about that? Have you heard anything about a possible imminent arrest?
Jake, I'll just say, looking at San Bernardino, we know that oftentimes these family members work together, and I imagine that will be a part and is a part of their investigation, but nothing further yet on that.
In the last few hours, this case has taken on a real twist and odd development. Reports that the terrorist had possibly been a patron at the Pulse nightclub several times and even used gay dating apps. FBI investigators have recovered his cell phone. Have you been briefed on any of that, including what is in his cell phone and what that might mean?
And Jake, this is a terrible loss during LGBT Pride Month for the community. And the question right now that is being examined is, was this a casing? Was this individual going there to check out the nightclub based on the open reports we've seen from people who have seen him there? Or was this because he himself was gay? And that is an important question in this. But we know that a hateful person with an assault weapon, a weapon of war, carried out this horrific crime.
And you've talked a lot in this interview about the semi-automatic rifle and the Glock that the terrorist had. Your Republican colleagues do not support, at least most of them, any effort to make it so if you're on the terror watch list or the no-fly list that you can't legally buy a gun. Are you going to be able to convince any of them as to your way of thinking?
I hope so, and I hope my Republican colleague on the House Intel Committee, Peter King, who's the sponsor of the House version of that bill, helps. Because right now, if you are too dangerous to fly on a plane, you should be too dangerous to buy a gun. But I also think under this bill, the Attorney General has broad authorities, and I think one that should be looked at is whether you come off a watch list and then later on go and buy a firearm, do we want the FBI to know about it? And I think the answer is yes.
Well, that's fine that you trust Attorney General Lynch with that power, but would you trust Donald Trump's Attorney General with that power?
No, and that's why I think Congress can actually clean that up and make sure that anyone who comes off a watch list, if they go on to buy a firearm, we at least know about it and can maybe go back to that investigation.
Congressman Eric Swalwell, thanks so much.
Thanks, Jake.